In the face of turmoil and uncertainty, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment. Today the authorities stand united, committed to the values that have held us together for centuries. Justice, integrity, and accountability. These are not mere words but the foundation upon which we build our society. There are moments in life when we must make difficult decisions. When faced with actions that threaten the very fabric of our security, we cannot, and we will not, shy away from the responsibility that comes with protecting the innocent, upholding the law, and ensuring that those who seek to harm others are held accountable. This is not just about the enforcement of law, it is about ensuring that justice prevails. It is about standing tall in the face of wrongdoing, no matter how powerful or elusive it may seem. The journey toward justice is never easy, but it is always worth it. Every step we take is a step toward a stronger, safer, and more unified community. We cannot allow fear or doubt to cloud our judgment. We must be unwavering in our commitment to the truth, no matter how difficult the pursuit may be. The road ahead may be long, but we have the strength, the determination, and the willpower to see it through. Let this be a reminder to all that no one is above the law. No matter how far one may run, justice will always find a way. And for those who believe they can escape accountability, know this, the pursuit will not end until the truth is revealed and justice is served. This is our promise, to stand firm, to stand for what is right, to stand for justice. And let us not forget, the true strength of a society is not measured by the power it holds, but by the courage it displays in moments like these. The courage to fight for what is just, for what is right, and for what is good. We are a nation built on these values, and we will continue to fight for them every day in every way. Together we will ensure that justice is served, and together we will move forward as one, stronger than ever. The unwavering commitment of our authorities to justice and accountability serves as a cornerstone of the trust and security that binds us as a society. In every action taken, every investigation pursued, and every decision made, the primary objective is always to ensure that the principles of fairness, integrity, and the rule of law are upheld. This is not just a duty, it is a fundamental obligation to every individual in this community. In times of difficulty, it's easy to lose sight of the values that define us. There are moments when it feels as though the forces of injustice, corruption, or malice are too strong to overcome. But the true strength of a nation is not measured by how quickly it rises in moments of ease, but by how resolute it stands when confronted with challenges. And in the face of these challenges, the commitment to justice must not waver. We often hear that justice is blind, but this concept does not imply an indifference to the suffering and needs of the people. Instead, it represents the impartiality and fairness that ensures that all individuals are treated equally, regardless of their position or status in society. The law exists not as a tool for the powerful, but as a shield to protect the vulnerable. This is the very essence of justice. It is there to protect those who cannot protect themselves, to offer a voice to those who have been silenced, and to bring to light that which seeks to remain hidden in the shadows. In the face of any threat, the authorities remain unyielding in their dedication to seeing justice done. This commitment is not a reaction to a single case or incident. It is a promise that we make, day after day, to ensure that every person, regardless of their actions, is held accountable for the consequences they have caused. Justice cannot be selective, nor can it be compromised. If we allow even a single instance of injustice to go unchecked, we erode the very foundation upon which our society rests. Integrity too plays an integral role in the pursuit of justice. It is not enough to simply enforce the law. It must be done with honesty, transparency, and ethical responsibility. The authorities who serve us must do so with an unshakable sense of duty and moral clarity. Every decision, from the smallest to the most significant, must reflect the highest standards of integrity. Without integrity, the pursuit of justice loses its meaning and becomes no more than a series of empty gestures. Moreover, accountability is the mechanism through which justice becomes real and tangible. Accountability means that there is no escaping the consequences of one's actions. It is a core principle that ensures those who choose to break the law or harm others will not be allowed to evade the truth of their actions. Accountability is not about vengeance. It is about ensuring that every wrong is acknowledged and rectified in a way that restores balance and allows for healing. In the face of challenges, we must also remember that justice is not a singular, isolated act. It is a continual process. It requires vigilance, dedication, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. There are times when the road to justice is long, when it feels as though the truth is obscured, or when the path forward is unclear. But this is where our resolve is tested. It is during these moments of uncertainty that the commitment to justice and accountability must be the brightest beacon guiding our way forward. No matter the challenges we face, we must remain steadfast. The consequences of failing to act with integrity or abandoning the pursuit of accountability are far too great. A society that allows justice to slip into ambiguity or neglect risks losing the very essence of what makes it whole. We cannot afford to turn a blind eye to wrongdoing, nor can we allow the voices of victims to be silenced by inaction. The pursuit of justice is not easy, but it is always necessary. The law may not always be convenient, and the truth may not always be comfortable. But without it, society cannot function as it should. The authorities, in their unwavering dedication to justice, serve not just as enforcers of the law, but as protectors of the values that sustain us all. Their commitment to justice and accountability is a promise to the people, to ensure that every person, no matter their walk of life, is treated fairly, that wrongdoing will not go unchecked, and that the foundations of our society remain strong and intact. In a world where lies, deception, and half-truths often cloud the air, the pursuit of truth is a responsibility that cannot be ignored. It is a journey that requires unwavering dedication, resilience, and the courage to confront uncomfortable reality. The path to uncovering the truth is not always straightforward. It is often winding, filled with obstacles, and at times it may seem like the truth is elusive, slipping through our fingers just when we think we've found it. But the pursuit must continue, for it is the only way to ensure that justice is served, and that those who inflict harm on others face the consequences of their actions. The truth has a unique power. It holds the ability to heal, to bring clarity, and to provide justice where there has been none. It is not something that can be buried or concealed forever. Even when people go to great lengths to obscure it, the truth will find a way to rise to the surface, shining light on the darkness that seeks to remain hidden. But this process requires effort, patience, and a steadfast belief that truth, no matter how difficult or painful, is worth seeking. It is often said that the truth hurts, and while this may be true, it is also the case that it is the only path to genuine resolution. When the truth is uncovered, the healing can begin. For victims, it means recognition of their pain and suffering, and for perpetrators, it means facing the consequences of their choices. To avoid the truth is to prolong the agony, to ignore the need for justice, and to fail in our duty to uphold what is right. The pursuit of truth is not without its challenges. There are times when the search seems endless, when every lead appears to be a dead end, or when those who have the power to reveal the truth choose to remain silent. In such moments, it is easy to become discouraged, or to doubt the worth of continuing the search. But we must remember that the value of the truth is not diminished by the difficulties we encounter along the way. Each step, no matter how small, brings us closer to understanding, to clarity, and ultimately to justice. The journey may be long and fraught with challenges, but we must remain focused on the goal, a society where truth prevails and accountability is not negotiable. It is also important to recognize that the pursuit of truth requires courage. Courage to ask the hard questions, to confront the painful answers, and to hold those in positions of power accountable for their actions. Those who are willing to expose the truth are often faced with resistance, pushback, or even danger. But the responsibility to stand firm, to remain relentless in the face of adversity, is one that must be embraced. It is through this courage that we ensure that justice is not only pursued, but achieved. The pursuit of truth is not a passive act, it is an active ongoing process that demands diligence and perseverance. There are times when the facts are hidden behind layers of deceit, when those who seek to protect themselves will do anything to obscure the truth. But this is when the determination to uncover it must be the strongest. It is easy to look away when things get difficult, but the pursuit of truth is a moral obligation that transcends personal discomfort. It is about righting wrongs, restoring integrity, and ensuring that no harm goes unchecked. And though the journey may be arduous, there is great strength to be found in the pursuit itself. Every truth uncovered, every lie exposed, brings us one step closer to justice. When we speak of accountability, it is only possible because of the truth. Without it, there can be no real justice, no real understanding of what has happened, and no meaningful resolution for those who have been harmed. Even when the truth seems obscured by powerful forces, Even when the search feels endless, we must press on. The pursuit of truth is a commitment to fairness, to the belief that no matter how difficult or painful, the truth is always worth pursuing. It is the only path to justice, the only way to ensure that those who cause harm are held accountable, and the only means through which we can build a society where integrity and righteousness are upheld. In the end, it is the pursuit of truth that leads to freedom. The freedom to know, the freedom to heal, and the freedom to ensure that justice is served. The foundation of any just and functioning society rests on the principle that no one is above the law. This idea is not merely a statement of fairness, it is a necessary truth that safeguards equality, order, and public trust. When the law applies equally to all people, regardless of their position, wealth, power, or influence, it sends a clear message that justice is not reserved for the few, but is a right for everyone. It ensures that society does not descend into favoritism or tyranny, where only the powerful are protected while the vulnerable are left behind. Laws are created to maintain order, to protect rights, and to define the boundaries between right and wrong. When those laws are selectively applied or ignored for certain individuals, they lose their authority. If even one person is permitted to disregard the law without consequence, it undermines the entire legal system and damages the social contract between the people and those who are entrusted to govern and enforce justice. Equality before the law is what allows people to believe in their system of governance. Without it, trust is eroded, and society becomes divided by suspicion and resentment. Throughout history, we have seen the dangers of unchecked power and the consequences of letting individuals believe they are untouchable. When those in positions of authority or influence act as though the law does not apply to them, it breeds corruption, injustice, and impunity. It allows harmful actions to continue unchallenged and silences those who have been wronged. This is why the principle that no one is above the law must be defended with absolute conviction, even when doing so is difficult or politically inconvenient. Justice must never bend to power. It must never hesitate when facing those who are used to having their way through influence or intimidation. The strength of a legal system is not measured by how easily it punishes the weak, but by how firmly it holds the powerful accountable. It takes courage and determination to pursue justice when the person at fault holds status or authority, but it is in these very moments that the integrity of the law is tested and proven. When accountability is enforced without exception, it reinforces the idea that actions have consequences for all people. It tells the public that justice is not a privilege but a guarantee. It assures victims that their voices matter, and it serves as a deterrent to those who may consider abusing their power. Upholding the principle that no one is above the law is not about targeting individuals. It is about protecting the legal and moral framework that supports society as a whole. This principle also plays a vital role in maintaining peace and social cohesion. When people see that justice is applied evenly, they are more likely to respect the institutions that govern them. They are more willing to participate in civic life, obey laws, and support systems that they believe are fair. On the other hand, when people perceive that the powerful are treated differently, it can lead to unrest, cynicism, and disillusionment with authority. It must also be understood that ensuring no one is above the law is not about vengeance or retribution. It is about fairness. It is about reinforcing the basic idea that the same rules apply to everyone, and that wrongdoing cannot be hidden behind influence or power. Whether someone holds office, commands wealth, or has a reputation built over years, the law must be blind to all these things. Only through equal application of justice can society remain stable, credible, and principled. There may be resistance. There may be those who believe they can avoid consequences through manipulation or force. But history has shown, time and again, that justice has a way of catching up. The truth finds its path, and the law, when properly upheld, will not be silenced by threats or distracted by power. The message must be firm and clear. No individual, regardless of who they are or what they control, is above the law. This is not only a legal necessity, it is a moral imperative that must guide our institutions, our leaders, and our collective conscience. The pursuit of justice is a responsibility that cannot be carried by one person, one agency, or one institution alone. It is a task that demands the cooperation and shared commitment of an entire society. When people stand together, united by the common belief in fairness, truth, and the rule of law, they become a powerful force against injustice. Strength is found not in isolated efforts, but in the unity of individuals, communities, and institutions working side by side to uphold what is right and condemn what is wrong. Unity in the face of injustice sends a message that cannot be ignored. It shows that no individual or group can manipulate, intimidate, or divide us when we are committed to a shared goal. When people from different walks of life come together, not because they are the same, but because they believe in the same principles, society becomes stronger. The collective voice becomes louder than the threats, louder than the lies, and louder than the fear that often seeks to silence justice. In times of crisis or uncertainty, it becomes even more important to rely on one another. Unity does not mean blind agreement, but rather shared purpose. Communities may have diverse opinions and backgrounds, but when justice is at stake, there is a common ground that binds us together. This unity enables us to support victims, confront wrongdoing, and hold those in power accountable. No one should feel alone in their pursuit of justice. When a community stands together, it offers protection, strength, and courage to those who may otherwise feel vulnerable or unheard. The role of unity in justice also extends to the institutions tasked with upholding the law. When law enforcement, judicial bodies, civil society, and the public work in coordination, the justice system becomes more transparent, more trustworthy, and more effective. Each part of society has a role to play. Citizens must remain informed and engaged. Institutions must act with integrity and fairness. Leaders must be held to account by the people they serve. Together, these efforts create a structure where justice can thrive and where the rule of law is not just a phrase but a lived reality. Unity also provides resilience. Those who seek to undermine justice often rely on division. They try to weaken institutions by sowing doubt or fear. They attempt to isolate victims, intimidate witnesses, and manipulate public opinion. But when people stand together, refusing to be divided, these tactics lose their power. A united society can withstand pressure, resist corruption, and protect the truth, because its strength comes from its shared values, not from any one individual. There are also moments when standing united requires courage. It may mean speaking out when it is easier to stay silent. It may involve challenging those who have long been shielded by status or influence. But when people act not just for themselves but for the greater good, their actions carry a weight that goes far beyond individual effort. Justice becomes a collective achievement, not a solitary struggle. Moreover, unity fosters accountability. When communities are engaged and aware, they are better able to monitor institutions, question power, and demand results. Justice must be visible and accessible. It cannot operate in silence or behind closed doors. The involvement of the public helps ensure that the process remains honest and that those responsible for wrongdoing are not shielded from consequences. The pursuit of justice must always be rooted in collective effort. It is through unity that society gains the strength to challenge wrongdoing, support those who have been wronged, and uphold the principles that protect us all. Alone, the path to justice is difficult and uncertain. Together, it becomes clearer, stronger, and more certain. When we stand together with courage, resolve, and a shared belief in justice, there is no challenge that cannot be overcome. Courage is often misunderstood as the absence of fear. In reality, courage is the decision to act in spite of fear. It is the strength to stand firm when everything around us feels uncertain, threatening, or overwhelming. In the pursuit of justice, this kind of courage becomes not just admirable, but essential. Justice is rarely served without resistance. It is not uncommon for those who stand on the side of truth and accountability to be met with opposition, criticism, or even danger. And yet, it is precisely in those moments when fear seeks to paralyze us that courage must rise. True strength is not found in displays of force or in positions of power. It is found in the quiet determination of individuals who refuse to be silenced. It is found in those who speak out against wrongdoing even when they stand alone. It is in the resolve of those who risk their own safety, comfort, or reputation to ensure that justice is not compromised. These acts of courage, whether large or small, contribute to a greater good. They become the building blocks of a society where truth matters, and where accountability is not avoided but expected. Fear is a powerful force. It can make people turn away from what is right. It can cause silence when words are needed most, or hesitation when action is critical. Those who benefit from injustice often rely on fear to maintain their control. They use intimidation, threats, and manipulation to discourage scrutiny and to protect themselves from the consequences of their actions. But courage disrupts that power. It refuses to be controlled by fear. It challenges systems that protect wrongdoing and insists that no matter how difficult, justice must be pursued. Moving forward in the face of obstacles requires both individual and collective bravery. No single person can change the course of injustice alone, but one courageous voice can inspire others to stand as well. When people come together with a shared commitment to justice, the strength of that unity becomes unstoppable. The fear that once held people back begins to lose its grip, replaced by the conviction that change is possible. In this way, courage spreads. It grows with every truth spoken, every injustice challenged, and every moment someone refuses to look the other way. History has shown time and again that some of the greatest shifts in justice have come not through ease or comfort, but through courage. Whether it was citizens demanding their rights, whistleblowers exposing corruption, or communities standing up against violence, progress was made because people chose to act even when fear was present. They believed that justice was not just a concept, but a reality worth fighting for, even when the cost was high. The road to justice is rarely smooth. It often requires confronting powerful interests, facing public criticism, or enduring personal sacrifice. But these difficulties do not lessen the importance of the journey. Instead, they highlight just how critical it is that we remain committed, no matter how hard the path may be. For every obstacle that appears, there is an opportunity to show courage. For every attempt to silence the truth, there is a chance to speak louder, clearer, and with more resolve. In moments of fear and uncertainty, it can be tempting to retreat or to wait for someone else to act. But justice does not wait. It depends on the courage of individuals who are willing to move forward, even when the outcome is unclear. It depends on people who believe that doing the right thing is more important than doing the easy thing. And ultimately, it is this kind of courage that ensures justice will prevail. Not immediately, not without struggle, but certainly and surely. To face fear and continue onward is not weakness. It is the greatest strength of all. Justice is sustained by the courage of those who choose to stand when it would be easier to fall. And through this courage, justice finds its way, even in the darkest of times. A society is not measured solely by its economic success, military power, or political influence. Its true strength lies in the values it chooses to uphold. And among those values, justice stands above all. Justice is what gives a society its moral foundation, its sense of order, and its ability to offer fairness and protection to all people, regardless of their background, status, or beliefs. Without justice, the fabric of society begins to fray, trust breaks down, conflict rises, and inequality festers. But when justice is firmly rooted and actively pursued, society becomes stronger, more stable, and more united. In times of hardship and uncertainty, the importance of justice becomes even more pronounced. When people face fear, division, or injustice, they look to institutions and leaders for reassurance that the rule of law will prevail. This is where justice serves not only as a system, but as a guiding principle, a reminder that fairness and accountability must not be abandoned in the face of difficulty. On the contrary, it is in these very moments that justice must be defended most strongly. The decisions we make during challenging times define us more clearly than those made when everything is calm and predictable. Justice ensures that wrongdoers are held accountable, victims are heard, and society does not descend into chaos or lawlessness. But it goes beyond punishment. It creates the conditions for people to live with dignity and security. It builds trust between citizens and institutions, fostering a sense of belonging and cooperation. When people believe they will be treated fairly, they are more likely to engage in their communities, respect the laws, and contribute to the greater good. In this way, justice is not simply reactive. It is proactive in building a culture of responsibility and mutual respect. Moreover, justice helps heal divisions. In a world increasingly marked by social, political, and economic disparities, justice provides a path toward reconciliation and equality. It recognizes past wrongs, addresses present challenges, and lays the foundation for a better future. When all individuals feel that the system works not just for the privileged few but for everyone, unity becomes possible. People are more likely to stand together when they believe they are being treated fairly and that their rights are protected. It is also essential to understand that justice is not static. It must be constantly nurtured, questioned, and refined. Laws must evolve to reflect the needs and values of society, and institutions must be willing to examine their own actions to ensure they are living up to the standards they are meant to enforce. This ongoing commitment to justice, through reform, transparency, and accountability, is what allows a society to grow stronger over time. There is no room for complacency in the pursuit of justice. It requires vigilance, honesty, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truth. The courage to act justly, even when it is difficult, is what separates a strong society from a fragile one. It is easy to uphold justice when there is little risk or opposition. But true strength is demonstrated when justice is pursued in the face of pressure, resistance, or uncertainty. When leaders, institutions, and individuals choose to do what is right, not what is easy or convenient, they reinforce the moral backbone of society. Ultimately, justice is not an abstract idea reserved for courts or officials. It is a shared responsibility. Every individual has a role to play in upholding it. By speaking out against wrongdoing, supporting those who have been wronged, and holding each other to a higher standard, a society that values justice becomes more compassionate, more resilient, and more unified. In choosing justice, we choose strength. We choose a future where truth matters, where fairness is non-negotiable, and where every person, regardless of circumstance, is treated with dignity and respect. This is how we build a society, not only capable of withstanding adversity, but of emerging from it stronger than ever before.